Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing a review on the Rudis KS Infinity Yin boxing shoes. So check it out. Hey guys, Carlo here, and today I'm doing a review on a pair of shoes I've been wanting to get my hands on for a very long time now, which are these Rudis KS Infinity wrestling shoes, which I'm using for boxing. These retail for $165. They're designed here in the United States and manufactured in China. I got mine in the Yin colorway, which is going to be mostly black with contrasting white on the ankle support as well as on the rubber outsole. They have the Yang edition, which is going to be the sister shoe, which is going to just be the opposite colorway, with white down the middle, with black on the ankle support and a black rubber outsole. Now, what initially attracted me to these KS Infinities and really just the Rudis brand in general was I was browsing social media one day and an ad came up for their shoes. And my first thought was, man, those look badass. I saw these KS Infinities and they were kind of like in an all navy blue with the red colorway. So I clicked on it. You know, curiosity killed the cat. I clicked on it and I just started kind of going down the rabbit hole on their website. And I just thought they looked really amazing in terms of the design. One thing that really struck me about these shoes is that Rudis is a company this is what they do. They design and make wrestling shoes. So they're not essentially like this big box sporting goods company that just happens to make a wrestling shoe or happens to make a boxing shoe. This is what they do. So I knew that the knowledge of wrestling and their expertise in this field would be reflected into the shoe that they're making. So that just made me even more confident with both just the quality control of the shoe as well as design and how these would perform when I started using them. Now, I know those of you that are going to be asking, well, why am I going with a wrestling shoe? Well, I did a video a while back that compares the similarities and differences between a wrestling and a boxing shoe. And there's a lot of similarities between the two. That's why you see a lot of boxers use these for training, wrestling shoes for both training and even in their fights. Similarities would be the upper is usually very flexible, sock-like feel. You have an ample amount of ankle support. Typically, it's very lightweight. The key difference from what I've seen when it comes to wrestling shoes is going to be the outsole, typically. Now, in wrestling, I've never wrestled in my life, so I can't speak on that, but just because I've never done it. But in wrestling, just from an observer standpoint, you're gonna be on the ground. You're gonna be kind of in a position where you're gonna be using a lot of leverage with your lower body, your upper body. So you need a ton of grip because you're gonna be at angles where your feet are just gonna be on the side, backwards, forward. You're gonna be in all types of different positions in wrestling. Obviously, you won't be in boxing because you're standing up in boxing. So that's gonna be the key difference, is that you'll notice with these shoes, you get a ton of grip. It has an omnidirectional or multi-directional rubber outsole. This is probably the best gripping shoe I've used for boxing, period. You can see the placement of the grip pattern. It has these little circles and these little divots and bumps, and it has this little traction tread design that's these little bumps right there. That adds to the level of grip. You have these little channels. You have this one right here, kind of for the ball of the feet, the midfoot, and then you have this back, and you have this little herringbone grip pattern. That's what's really going to give you that grip on your back heel. And for boxing, it's excellent. You know, if you're doing any kind of movement laterally, back and forth, man, you find the grip on these are amazing. You literally just stick. Wherever you got to go, your foot never slips. You'll also notice for wrestling, compared to a boxing shoe, you have that same grip on the outside edges. It typically rolls in a wrestling shoe. You have more of a rolled outsole. So if you look at some Asics, some Adidas, you'll notice that it has kind of more of a rolled outsole. And again, because in wrestling, you're going to be at much more steeper angles, which you won't be in boxing. So typically a boxing boot or boxing shoe just has a flat rubber outsole. You might have a grip pattern on the bottom of the outsole in the boxing shoe, but sometimes it might just be completely flat with just a little bit of texture on there to give you some grip. But that's pretty much it. Some of the newer style shoes, like the Hyper KO 2.0s, the Venom Elites, they might have a much more advanced grip design, but as far as grip goes, from all the shoes I've used, these definitely grip the best by far. When I was using this to change direction, I mean, it's just like that. You can change the direction, no problem. They grip perfectly. So that's gonna be the biggest difference. And to me, a big improvement. I guess you can call one drawback is sometimes the grip is almost too good to where you're trying to move and your foot almost feels like your foot kind of gets stuck on the canvas. So that's probably one drawback, but it's not a huge one. I haven't had any issues with that whatsoever. But for grip, these do an excellent job. Now, sizing wise, for those of you that are wondering, do these fit true to size? They fit true to size if you have a normal to skinny size foot. Now, if you're like me and you have, dwarf feet, your feet run any kind of width bigger than what you would consider normal, then Rudis definitely recommends to go a minimum of half size up or a whole size up. Now, I typically wear size 10.5 or 11 when it comes to boxing shoes. And I went with size 11.5, so I went a whole size up with these, and these fit me perfectly. If you go to the Rudis website, there's actually a page there by model. So the KS Infinities, they have the Colts, I think the Samurais is what they call them. And for each shoe, it'll tell you how tight they fit and how much wider you should go with that particular model. And for this one, they recommended a minimum of a half size up if I have wider feet. I decided to go a whole size up, and these fit me perfectly. So if you have wide feet, definitely go a whole size up. That way you make sure you're comfortable. I was a little scared when I ordered these just because they're 165 bucks. I'm like, please God, hopefully these are gonna be the right size and they're not too tight or they're not too big. So, I trusted their system and they were pretty much spot on with being one size up. So for those of you wondering, go a half size minimum if you want a little bit of a snugger fit. If you want a good comfortable fit, go a full size up. Now, material wise, you can see it has this mono mesh material, kind of like a wire mesh exoskeleton if you want to call it, on the upper. And you'll notice that it has the lace loops right here that are anchored down onto the side of the shoe. I'm assuming it's going to be anchored and stitched into the midsole. It has a KS. You have the Rudis logo on the side back of the ankle support right there. You have that rubber outsole. That's really nice. A micro suede material that goes around the outside edge on the midsection of the shoe, all around the toe box. You have that on this side as well. The Rudis logo on the outside, more of the lace loops that anchor in. And then that same mono mesh material almost feels like kind of like a canvas. I like to compare it. A lot of brands come out with their own version of it, but it's essentially like the Nike Flywire type material. Right here it says Kyle Snyder, KS Infinity, that's what the KS stands for, built to withstand infinite power. So you have that slogan. Nice long black flat laces in black and red. That comes all the way over there. You have the Kyle Snyder autograph that is actually printed into the ankle support. The ankle support has about 3/4 of an inch of foam padding. And you also have the tongue right here that has the Rudis logo. On the back side of the tongue has a sizing of 11.5. And one thing I love is it's very, very comfortable. This tongue material and the inside is made almost like this very soft, smooth satin neoprene material. So it doesn't feel like crusty or it doesn't feel like that really like scratchy material. It's very smooth on the inside. It does have an insole on the inside that is not removable. It is completely glued in. So if you want to put in your custom orthotics on the inside of the shoe, you're going to have to rip that out. That's completely up to you. These are very comfortable when you put your feet in there. They offer an ample amount of cushioning, especially for a wrestling shoe. Now, for those of you that are going to wonder, like, well, can I use this for cross training? Like if I'm at the gym and I do boxing and I want to go like lift weights, I want to do box jumps, you could, but they're not the most impact resistant shoes. So you don't have a ton of cushioning inside here. You have a decent amount, but you don't have a ton of cushioning. So if you have back problems, bad knees, just keep in mind these are not built for that. Essentially at their core, these are still a wrestling shoe. So I would just kind of minimize that, or just bring yourself a pair of sneakers that have more cushioning so you don't do damage to the lower body and your back. Trust me, I know. Getting up in age, your lower back, man, that becomes a problem later down the road. So spare yourself that trouble. So I would definitely be mindful of that. You also have that Rudis that's printed on the back of the shoe. You can see the quality of the shoe is excellent. I mean, I don't have any like threads coming out. The sizing is perfect. You know, both shoes are symmetrical each other in terms of the sizing of the shoe. You can see the laces are done well. You have plastic tips on the laces. And putting on and taking off the shoe is a breeze, really. I like the fact that it's more of a mid-cut shoe. It's not too high, so you don't have to spend all day lacing it up. You also have this lace holder too, so that the tongue doesn't drop down into the shoe. The laces itself, when you lace them up, they run smoothly to the lace loops right there, so you don't have to worry about having to sit there and really tug on each lace to really, set your laces really tight. So it just, in overall, a very well designed and well built shoe. Very comfortable. Just make sure you get the sizing right with the shoe. Again, wide feet, go a minimum of half size, if not a whole size up. But I was extremely impressed with these. I'll admit, at first I was a little bit skeptical of these shoes in terms of like how they would feel. I mean, they look great. I'm like, well, how are they gonna be? Are they gonna be way too tight? Because I've had wrestling shoes and boxing shoes in the past where it was just super tight around this area right here, and I hated them, and I just ended up throwing them into the garage to collect dust. But with these are definitely awesome shoes. You know, for those of you that are wrestlers that are watching this from a wrestling perspective, I can't comment on performance just because I've never done it, but I can tell you that these are very comfortable. The grip on these are phenomenal, and I don't think you'll be disappointed with these, especially from the other wrestling shoes I've tried in the past, you know, particularly for boxing. But overall, extremely happy with these. I think these are a great purchase. You know, price point of $165, not bad, all things considered. Kind of right there in the mix with other brands like Nike and Adidas. So definitely think they're well worth it. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find these KS Infinity boxing shoes, or should I say wrestling shoes. I'll see you guys later. Take care.